Let me start this discussion by asking you, Guru, about how do you think the role of the CFO has changed over the last few years?
I think if we look at India and businesses in India, number one, I think businesses in India are getting more global, more complex. And the pace of change is not just in technology, but also in compliance and regulation like GST. Now, if you put that into perspectives, CEOs are expecting from CFOs a lot more decision support. So, and if you look at the role of CFO as of yesterday, or rather today in some organizations, it's very much designed around transaction support. So, which means that for them to move to decision support, it's quite an uphill task. So, this is one of the fundamental change that we see in terms of how CEOs are expecting from CFOs. Now, because of that traditional nature of what they've operated, we've seen that finance is seen as a cost to business. So, which means that as CFOs to move to decision support, they need to look at investing in new practices, new skills, and new tool set to be doing business partnering with the CEO and the board.
So, according to me, CFOs are no longer a one function. Basically, they are themselves one business unit, and they started leading overall the business. If you see, giving some data to what Mr. Guru just said, that our 55% of our economy is global, as against just 10% 30 years back. So from 10% 30 years back to 55% right now, which means more than 50% of your economy is global. That's one. That's one thing. Second, we are all living in a VUCA world, right? And in fact, which means that every time you can expect some shock, and this shock is going to be here, and that's change is a new normal, and you cannot run away. And fortunately that we know this time the change is coming. Last 200 year history, if you take out, we're talking about industry 1, industry 2, industry 3, now industry 4. The first time at least all of us are aware of that we are in industry 4. Before this, none of us, in fact the guys who were part of that industry 3, industry 2, industry 1, they were not aware of that they are part of one revolution, the technological revolution. The technology are basically used for industry 4 is rampant. The digital technology, you talk about the AI, you talk about the algorithm, you talk about the data analytics, it's impacting the fintech 3 as well. We cannot remain isolated. I think the CFOs as a community, they have realized this fact. And if they are not evolving themselves, then they will remain one isolated unit, which actually is not the case. There are some issues in terms of adoption, but the fast they are understanding the gap, and they are adopting the new technology. I think they have evolved. Last 10 years I can see that the digitalization, especially the push by the not just the government here in India, also in the globally, they've realized the importance of this one. Because if a 55% of economy is outside, they cannot remain isolated. So I think I agree with what Mr. Guru said. I think we are in the same bus.